Hello, amazing parents and caretakers, and welcome to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. I'm your family empowerment coach, Celia Kibler. I'm a mom of a blended family of 5 kids. I'm a grandma of 9 kids, an author, a teacher, a speaker, and a consultant with over 40 years of training and real-life parenting experience. I'm here to offer you practical, doable tips, strategies, and techniques that will pump up your parenting skills and create peace, love, and laughter throughout your family. In addition, I'll be interviewing some great humans that are on a mission to make your life a better, happier, and healthier life. So let's not waste any time and get started with the next episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Thanks for listening. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. I'm excited to have our next guest because she's going to help us get through overwhelm and stop trying to be perfect and be that imperfect human. Because we all are, because we're all human, and so we're imperfect. So let me introduce you to my favorite titled human, Professional Imperfectionist, Jen Anderson. And she is the tech non-genius behind Accomplist, Accomplist, the to-do app for imperfect humans. Yay! So I'm excited, Jen, that you're here. Welcome to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
I'm excited to have you. So I'm not going to read your whole bio and everything because I'd much rather you tell us about it. And if you would, just before telling us, just where do our listeners get the Accomplist app? Where do they find it? I'm assuming on the app stores, but if there's somewhere else they should go in case some people have to leave early.
Right. It's available. The Accomplist app is available on the Apple App Store and on the Google Play Store. But you can also get direct links to their pages at accomplist.app.
Wonderful. Now, Jen, the professional imperfectionist, tell me why you made this. How did all this happen?
Oh boy, it's been a long trip.
Reader's Digest condensed version.
The short version.
Listeners know what Reader's Digest is? Probably not, but show my age.
Yes. Well, my thinking in creating this is that I was actually looking for a to-do system for myself. And in my other things, I'm a freelance writer. I write for plus size apparel companies. And so that the work is varying necessarily day to day. And then there's also, I get migraines. So some days just don't happen and some days happen a little bit and what have you, and there are deadlines. And so having a variable schedule like that, made it very difficult to figure out exactly how much time I had to work with, how much free time I actually had to go on a LinkedIn, to network, reach out to potential new clients. I just couldn't. I'd look at my to-do list, I'd write down 3 things and I say, oh no, I could do more than that. And no, I was overestimating. I only got to the 2 of the first 3 things anyway, even though I've added like 3 others. So I need an app that's starting with the assumption that you're trying to do too much because you're doing something on paper, something I do every day, I got to write it out every day and all right, fine. But with an app, it's if you don't get it done on the day that you said you were going to do it, it becomes overdue and it shows up bright red. And let's say it
yells at you.
Yes, it makes you
and it makes you feel bad about yourself.
Exactly. I know I didn't do it. Get off my back, app. And with daily repeating tasks, like I said, listen to podcasts, go on LinkedIn, whatever. If I do it 4 days out of 7, fabulous. But the app, if I don't do it yesterday, it's going to show up. And am I going to lie? I ended up lying to the app and lying to myself, saying, yeah, I did it, because that's the only way to make it go away. In the Accomplist app, it treats repeating tasks as separate things. So if you didn't do it yesterday, it will show up on yesterday's list, but today's list will only show you today's instance of that activity. So You can mark it skipped, you can mark it done, you can just ignore it, but it will not. And there's no such thing as overdue in
Can
Accomplist.
you reschedule it? Like, can you put it on? Okay, let's do it on Wednesday.
Yeah, well, it will stay on your to-day list.
Oh, okay.
If it's repeatable, then there'll be another one showing up.
But without the guilt.
Right.
Love that.
Yes, there are things on my to-do list right now that have been sitting there for a few months, and I'll get to it, and that's fine. And I'm looking at it going, yeah, no, I'll get to that. I don't. It can stay on the list, but there are a lot of different ways to organize your tasks in the app too. There's different lists, so I could have one list for podcasting, one list for one specific writing client, and so forth. You could have different lists for managing your kids, for PTA things. You could do one list just for a certain fundraiser or whatever.
I love it. I love it. And I just think that, the fact that you approach this from a view of not all of us are perfect and remove the the guilt aspect to it, because we guilt ourselves. We don't need someone helping us to feel guilty about not doing stuff. We're really good at that already,
Yes.
and I just love that you took that into consideration for your app. So tell me why, people that don't use an app often use like a to-do list. Like I have like my things I have to do, and then I have a little pad of paper on the side of my desk of working stuff. And I'll be like doing something, even maybe recording a podcast, and all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my gosh, I forgot to call that person. And while the podcast is going, I'll write down on my side pad of paper what I have to do so I don't forget it. So I get it out of my mind. So, with someone who's used to using pen and paper, how do they adapt to now a different way of managing their time so that they don't fall into bad habits?
Well, what they can do if you want to switch to an app is you can still write things down. Getting a PDA way back in the day did not mean I didn't have to carry around a little notepad everywhere. So, you can enter things in when you get a chance. But, with the Accomplist app, you can use it as a brain dump. Everything so you don't forget and get it out of your brain, because it's really hard to concentrate on something when your brain is still going, you got to call that person, you got to call that person.
Right.
So just having it all there. There is actually a way that you could do it on paper. I used to have a course about that. I'm going to put out a little book and do planners. But if you're really married to doing it on paper, okay, do it on paper, but just don't mark things done and leave or undone. Just like an app, assign them a status. Like completed, sure, but skipped or
Yeah.
delegated. And that way you're not thinking this all or nothing, and you're training yourself, just like the app does, to realize that you're not going to be able to do everything you want to. And that's okay.
And that's what so often leads us to overwhelm and frustration, and just, I know when I feel overwhelmed so often, and I'm the queen of doing too much, I just walk out of my office and I'll go sit down on the couch and watch like some stupid sitcom or something that just takes my mind off of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting it done. So, like, how do you help people with that whole feeling of overwhelm, and even just getting something done because they're too overwhelmed to do anything?
Right. Well, usually when you're overwhelmed, a lot of times it's because you have underestimated how complicated a task is. And
Good
so,
point.
yes, so with the different lists or in the app, you can have a task and you can have subtasks. It lets you think out everything involved in a project. Let's say, okay, I want to throw a party. So I got to send invitations and get the food and decorate, clean the apartment. Yeah, great. Who am I inviting? are, and then that means, well, okay, when I'm inviting people, I have to ask them if they have any allergies, what they don't eat, so that affects the food. And then, are these two people still speaking to each other? So there's a lot of little decisions that have to be made as part of that. And, if you just put it under invite people, then of course you don't know where to start because it's actually not just one task. It's a lot of different ones. Or you're dealing with the dripping faucet. And okay, I just got to fix that. It's not just fixing it. You got to take it apart. You got to get the washer. You got to take the washer to the hardware store to get the right one, or measure it and order online, and then reassemble it. It's and that could take, if you order online, it could take a couple days. If you do it in person, it's like an hour of your time. It's not just let me fix that real quick.
And I love, like, I seriously love that you said the reason is because we underestimate the complexity of a task. And that's so true. It's you write down one thing thinking, okay, well, I've got this 15 minutes. I'm going to do this real quick. And then you get involved in it. Here you are 2 hours later, and now you're still working on it. And you haven't done whatever was on your calendar to do an hour later. And that's such an excellent point. So, does the app help you do that? Like, what? Because I'm assuming you use the app personally to help you not feel overwhelmed,
Yes.
not feel like you're inundated with a million things.
Right. But also I am a writer, so I do sometimes do that on paper before putting it in the app, is figuring out, okay, what are all the steps? Start with a list that's going to get very messy and then make it tidy, with all the different side notes and all that. And so what you can do in the app is you can create a list for the party or whatever, and just have different tasks. And then within those tasks, you can create subtasks that you can check done or not done. And oh dear, I've knocked something.
Oh, that's
Uh,
all right. Come back.
yeah.
We hear you. We just don't see you. Now we
Okay.
do.
Yes. I jostled the
It's all
thingy.
right. I'm the queen of calm. I don't get upset when tech things go wrong or anything. I'm the calm crusader. So
Yes, and
all
I'm,
good.
the
It's all
professional imperfectionist.
imperfectly good.
Yes, or imperfectly good.
So, so it'll have a task. I should look up this app. I should have looked it up, and I apologize before we talked, but it's all right. I'd like you to explain it. So you have a task, and that task can have subtasks associated to the task.
Right.
Am
It's
I
not just writing down a list like in your reminders app or on a piece of paper. It's you open it up and you can put a due date, you can add notes, you can, assign it to different lists, um, all sorts of things. And one of those things is subtasks.
can different people work the same like do does is
There's no
starting to
sharing.
work?
Yeah,
There's no
right now.
sharing.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is that's a someday. It's a maybe someday
Okay,
thing.
that's a coming someday. But right now, no sharing. It's
It,
personal.
yes, it'd be a really cool feature, but especially because, there's a delegated status that, I just want to remind you that you can delegate things. You can ask someone else to do it. You're not the only person who can do everything.
And you should delegate. Like
Yes.
outsource, outsource, outsource. Whatever you don't like to do, get someone else to do. Because really part of us being proficient and getting things done is working on the things that we're better at and letting the people that are good at something else work on that, you know?
Yeah, there's a book, I think it's called the Big Leap, the Giant Leap, something like that, but it talks about your areas of competence and your areas of excellence and your areas of incompetence and yeah, cleaning, incompetence.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
Yeah, so that's something that, I do as best as I can and, hope to, delegate.
I'm
That's
just not interested in it. Doesn't interest me.
exactly. Every time I've had a cleaning lady in, I've had to say, do it up to my standards. I know your standards are much higher than mine.
But if you reach my standards, we're good.
Yes.
But that's a good place, even for listeners, for you guys to start, is to think about what are you good at and what do you enjoy doing? Because if you're working on something you don't enjoy doing, it's going to be the thing you procrastinate on. It's going to be the thing you put aside. It's going to be the thing that slows you down because let's face it, you don't like it. Think of your kids and they go to school and you, they are not going to be good or even interested in every subject they take. We want them to do their best. Well, do your best in everything you do. However, that doesn't mean as you get older and older, you have to do everything that's offered to you. It's a good time to realize where are your gifts? What are your things that really lighten you up and really make you sparkle? Same for your kids. And if there are things on your to-do list that you procrastinate, it's usually something that you should be outsourcing to someone else.
Absolutely. We tend to think of our time as free, but no, our time has worth. It has value. And, let's say you go to a laundromat. What it costs to drop it off, your laundry off, and have them do it for you is about the same as if you stayed there the whole time and did the laundry yourself. So why not? Why not
Right.
try sometimes?
Exactly. Because if you're saying yes to something, you are also saying no to something else. So
Yes.
if you're saying, yes, I'll just do all my laundry, or I could drop it off and get something done while these people do my laundry. Yes, I'll do my laundry means no, you can't do something during that time. Yes, these people can do my laundry means I can do something else productive at that time and get two things done at one time.
Absolutely. But also, one thing I do tell people, and do it in the app, there are things that you can do while you're waiting around. If you're sitting in the laundromat for good chunks of it, if you're alone, you can read. If you have kids, oh my. Don't bring them into the laundromat. They won't like it. You won't like it, but you might have to wrangle kids. But if you're waiting on the pickup line, waiting for the pharmacist, whatever, there are little things that you can do. You can look up and do a little research, whatever. Make a list specifically for things that you can do when you have just a couple minutes.
Yeah,
And that is a great way to, chip away at the things that you need to do. Oh, I have to sit down and do this. Well, you're sitting down, you're waiting. You don't necessarily have to block out this perfect hour of time for you to do all of these things.
exactly. And that's a great way to use the app is make a list of, things that have to get done that don't actually have to get done tomorrow.
Right.
So that when you're in a doctor's office or when you're doing some type where you have to wait around or, wherever you are, you're able to look at the app and say, oh, I could do this while I'm waiting because I can't even tell you how many times I have been in like a waiting situation. And the next day I'm like, "Ugh, why didn't I do that yesterday when I was sitting there waiting? It didn't
Exactly.
even come to I that just happened the other day and I was like I had all day even the other day I was sick, but I was basically sitting on the couch not feeling well and I realized I wasn't feeling well. But there was something I could have done that wouldn't have imposed too much on me just sitting there. And I was like, why didn't I think to do it? But I didn't think to do it. Whereas if I had a list of stuff to refer to, I could glance at that list and go, oh, this is something I could do without too much effort or whatever the situation may be.
Exactly. Although resting and recovering is an activity.
Yeah, it is. It is. True.
That's
I
very
needed
hard
rest.
for
I need rest and recover, or I would not be here today.
because
But
you crash.
yes, I agree. I agree. And sometimes we do too much,
Yes.
and we do need to rest and relax. Yes, thank you for that reminder. But you know, I just think often in situations that happens is that there are times like you're like, oh, I've been putting this off. I could have done it, but I didn't even think of it because I don't have it written anywhere to quickly refer to.
Exactly. It's you don't when you're on the spot, you don't think of things. It's I don't know what the neurological thing is, but just all the ideas, all the thoughts just go running and hiding the second you start to think, okay, what can I do? Or if your doctor says, okay, I want you to cut down, don't have white rice. Great. You tell me that, I forget about the existence of brown rice.
And other foods.
Yes. So what I need is a list of things that are yeses, not nos. And that's the thing. You're sitting there waiting, like, well, I can't do this and I can't do that, but what can you do while you're waiting or while you're resting?
Right.
When
Focus on the positive. I,
exactly. I get a lot of work done on my iPad while I'm in bed.
right. Right. I think we were talking before this podcast, and I was saying how I talk with a lot of my clients, and I advise them at the end of the day to write down what they actually did do instead of it is so common to write down what you didn't do. And
Yes.
then you look at this what I didn't do list and you feel very unaccomplished. When if you write down what you did do and you're like, oh, you know what? I had a client say this to me, during our talk. She's like, I thought I got nothing done during the day. And I started doing this. And in the morning, I was like, look at all these things I did yesterday. I wanted to top myself. I was like, can I do one more? Because most days I feel like I don't do anything.
Right. Well, a lot of the time we ignore what I call your small picture list. My big picture list is, big projects that I have in mind. And maybe parts of that big picture list are on my to-do list. But aside from that, I need to shower. I need to maybe do my makeup. I need to prepare lunch. I need to eat lunch. Things like that, that they take time, they take energy. And we just think, oh, that's nothing. That's just a matter of course. Yes, but as a matter of course, it's something that you do. And so one thing you could do in the app is you could put those little things in as daily repeating tasks.
Yes.
And that way when you look at your to-do list, you can see everything you actually have to do.
That's
Mm.
wonderful. I
Yes. And
love
there's
that
actually
idea.
yes. And there's actually a built-in habit tracker so that all your habits, your daily things can show up on your to-do list.
That is fabulous because I think that a lot of the problem with people once they get into feeling overwhelmed is that they really need more routine and habit going on.
Hmm.
They need like a morning, people talk about morning routines all the time and it has to fit your schedule. I'm a huge person of lifestyle management, which means I work with people with weight loss and it's always lifestyle weight loss. I'm not going to tell somebody who loves to eat chocolate, never eat chocolate again because that's unrealistic. And it's I have a friend who does budgeting and she does lifestyle budgeting. So if you eat out, she's not going to tell you never eat out again. She's going to be like, well, let's eat out 3 times a week instead of 6 times a week, because it has to match your lifestyle to make it work. And I think all these routines that are very important in life for you and your children also need to align with your lifestyle. Just because somebody says, well, in the morning, I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I go running for an hour, might not be what you want to do at 4:30 in the morning. Personally, 4:30 in the morning, I like to sleep and then I like to get up and I like to drink coffee on the couch. And no matter what I replace drink coffee on the couch with, I'm not going to do it because I want to drink coffee
Right.
on the couch. That's what I want to do in the morning when I wake up. So if I'm going to exercise, I will do it after I drink coffee on the couch. So you do have to really match to your lifestyle.
Yes. And I'm a big believer in habit stacking, which I think
Yes.
every parent knows about that. While I'm up, I'm going to do such and such. And that's, it's actually a great way just to start training yourself, give yourself a trigger. When the kids go to bed, I'm going to brush my teeth
Right.
rather than wait until I go to bed and I'm too tired and I forget. Or brushing my teeth wakes me up so much that I can't fall asleep right away. So then, you know, it just becomes automatic.
Exactly. I will tell parents, you know, Because what do they always complain about? They always complain that, excuse me, that their children's room is a mess. And I said, well, you need to add in to the habit of their morning routine and their evening routine. And I always advise in the morning routine, get up, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, get dressed, and then fix your bed before you go downstairs to have breakfast. In the nighttime, I'll say, whatever that nighttime routine is, take a bath, brush your teeth, get your pajamas on, pick out books, pick up everything on your floor and put it away, and then get in bed and read books. Like if you make those two things part of that routine and that habit, it will get done and you will and for the most part, your kid's room will be picked up and straight.
Yeah, exactly. It just becomes automatic.
Right. And it's, and I love that there's a habit. So how does the habit tracker work?
When you make a daily repeating task, you have the option of just putting a little checkbox, um, track as habit. And then there's just a habit tracker that you can look at. It's a report, essentially. And if you did the things, it shows up marked that it's done. If you skipped it or you didn't do it, then it's blank. And that's it. It's just looking at it a week at a time, no pressure, whatever. You don't have to, but it is an option for something that you want to do every day.
Does it repeat itself? Is this like a excuse me, like a calendar?
It is not a calendar, but it automatically generates a today list for you. And so let's say I want to take a meditation break. And so I put it on the list so that I don't forget that I meant to do that. And so I can make it a repeating task and then you can repeat something weekly or monthly or annually or daily. And then I can mark it track as habit. And then every day on my to-do list, it will show me meditate. Just once. If I didn't do it yesterday, if I ignored it, it won't show up again. Just the once. And I can just mark it completed or ignore it or mark it skipped or whatever. And that way, it's tracked. It's not a separate app. It's in with all of everything I have to do today is all in one place.
And that's how things get done. I
Yep.
seriously, if you like you put in an appointment, like today, we have this record our video, our podcast. If after this I put in 15-minute exercise break, go for a walk, meditate, whatever, then it gets done because it's on the schedule to do. It's
Hmm.
not like, oh, I had that half-hour break. I should have done an exercise video at that time.
Hmm.
And so it's really important to have great tools to kind of organize your life,
Absolutely.
especially if you're someone who is imperfect like we all are.
Hmm.
So talk about perfectionism for a little bit and how that sometimes stops people in their tracks.
Oh God, perfectionism. It's like having a bully in your brain is the thing.
I
And
love that.
it's this person in your brain that is telling you you're not good enough, that's jumping down your throat at every little mistake. And it's agonizing. I'm one of the kids that I'm one of the reason why teachers don't mark papers in red ink anymore, because it would just freak me out. It would I just couldn't. And then part of that, perfectionism can be a trauma response, and it could also just be, the parents freak out if things aren't perfect, whatever. And it's just this extra energy, and we're so mean to ourselves. And once you let go of that, then it frees up energy for other things, like everything that you want to get done instead of
Right.
beating yourself up.
Right. You stop overthinking and you stop because the truth is you can't be perfect. No one can be. Perfection is an unreasonable goal because it can't be met because nothing is perfect. Nothing. And in order to progress, you have to allow for the progress over the perfection. You have to allow which is part of what we talked about. Check what you got accomplished, not what you didn't do. It's part of that. Well, today, look, I got these three done. So here I am, progress over perfection, because just can't be perfect. And very often it is generational. It is caused by parents who were raised by parents who wanted them to be perfect, and now they strive to be perfect, and they create that same energy within their children, and they get upset with them when their mistakes happen or something didn't work right. And then that child now is like, in order for me to do what I'm supposed to do, I need to be perfect. Same why I stop parents from yelling at their kids, because yelling is judgmental and critical. And if you're yelled at consistently, you feel like you do nothing right. So when you're doing things, you strive to be perfect so that you don't get yelled at and you don't do it wrong. As parents, we all have those moments. The pressure builds up, the noise gets too much, and before we know it, we're raising our voices higher than we ever intended. But what if there was a better way? Introducing 21 Days to Stop Yelling at Your Kids, a revolutionary program designed to help you communicate with your children without yelling. Imagine a home filled with understanding and respect, where your words have impact without the need to raise your voice. Created through my over 40 years of experience, this course offers you practical, easy to implement strategies that work in real life. You'll learn through interactive lessons, engaging exercises, and a supportive community. No judgments, just guidance. Because being a parent doesn't have to mean you're perfect. It's about growing, and it's about becoming intentional. In just 21 days, life will be calmer and more harmonious. What if you don't get the course? Where will you be in 21 days? Still feeling like a bad parent? I encourage you to join the millions of parents that I have helped who have found a new path to communication and connection. Visit quityelling.com to enroll in the 21 Days to Stop Yelling course today. And for our podcast listeners, use the code PODCAST for a 60% discount. Quityelling.com, because love speaks so much louder than yelling. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side.
Right. And it's not productive, the yelling. It's not necessarily communicating
Exactly.
what you need to do. And the reason that you're frustrated and yelling is because things aren't going smoothly, and yelling is not going to make things run smoothly. So it
And
is,
will usually make things worse.
yes. And it starts with yourself in a lot of ways. That, I say every time you give yourself permission to accept your mistakes, you're giving everyone else permission to do the same.
Absolutely.
And, everyone makes mistakes, so why not you?
Yeah. And if you use a mistake the way it should be used, it's a path to your growth, because you should look at it as, okay, what can I learn from this? What didn't happen that I wanted it to happen? And how can I make it happen the next time I'm in this situation? And if you learn from it, you are always growing and you are building your experience.
Exactly. It's learning any new skill, you're going to make mistakes. And you know what? Raising a 3-year-old is different from raising a 2-year-old, is different from raising a 4-year-old. So you're learning how to do this. This is an activity. If you're learning how to play guitar, you're going to make mistakes. And it's frustrating. And obviously, you care very much about your parenting. It's not something you can be like, all right, I made a mistake. But still, you are learning, and it's not going to be perfect. And that's okay.
That's right. That's right. And there's no one perfect. And the fact is that as you're learning along the way, you gain more and more pride in yourself, Like, if you think about what was one of the hardest things you've done that you're so proud that you accomplished. I know when I went to college, my freshman year, I had a course that I thought was going to be a breeze. It was one of my first courses I took in college, and it was so hard, so hard. It was out of all 40 years of college, this was by far the hardest course I took, and I got a C in it. But I was never more proud of a grade because I didn't work in any other course like I worked in that course to achieve it. And I just did my best, and that's what I got. And I was super proud of myself. And it was hard. It was seriously hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's the effort we make. It broke my heart to hear it, but Jennifer Hudson, I read a quote from her that she was prouder of her weight loss than of her Oscar. And my heart just breaks for that. But yeah, actually, losing the weight and keeping it off and fighting her body in every step of the way. Yeah, that is a huge
Yeah.
effort. It's a big
Because for
undertaking.
her, it was probably harder to lose weight and get into that mindset than her natural born incredible ability to sing,
Right.
you know, than her talent that just has innate in her. So that talent comes out easily. She loves it. You can tell she loves it. But losing weight was not something that was easy for her. So I can see where she was more proud of that
Yeah.
because it was something she conquered. So back to the app real quick. I'm sure some people that are listening are like, okay, I want to get this app. Let's mention it again. Accomplist, Accomplist, like accomplish, but replace the H with a T. Accomplist. Dot app is the website. You can download it anywhere. It does have a minimal cost to it, right?
Yes, there's a 7-day free trial, so you can take
Oh,
it for a
you could try
spin.
it.
Of course, yeah. Open it up and play around with it and see. And that's how I discovered that I needed to design an app because I did the free trial for all of these other apps and nothing worked for me. But yeah, it's 99 cents a month or 9.99 a year. And you pay that through the App Store, the Google Play Store, and that's it. And we don't get your data. It's tied to um, your Gmail, I guess, whatever login you have for your Android or for your Apple ID, and that's it. It's actually quite private. The data is
Good.
saved remotely so that you can have the app on your tablet and your phone, and it will sync. But
Mm,
yeah, I don't have any access to that, so that's a nice privacy thing.
that's great. Can you see your history? Can you like research things you've done and go back and
Absolutely.
like, when did I do that or something like that?
Yeah, that you can, look at them in the individual lists or your inbox. There's also a completed list where you go and you see all the things that were crossed out. And then there's a delegated list. So that way, if you delegated something, okay, I need to follow up on the things I delegated. It's on the delegated list.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
so unlike a paper system, things, they're always there
I love it.
unless you delete them.
I love it. Less clutter because it's more organized, and
Mhm.
clutter is chaos. Chaos is stressful. So do something to less clutter your environment. I don't know if that was quite good English or proper English.
Close enough.
But anyway, well, Jen, I really enjoy this conversation, and I do plan on downloading your app today after we get off this because I think it will be very useful to me personally. Um, Before we go, would you give our listeners one more piece of advice when they are in a situation of being truly overwhelmed, how they can move from there to feeling accomplished for the day?
Well, one thing you can do is lean into it. We try so hard to not feel overwhelmed, to not freak out. Do it. Just go for it because your body can only sustain that for about 10, 15 seconds. So that's helpful. And that way you can then, all right, I felt that way. Now I can clear and move forward. And also just remember that some projects are long-term projects, like raising a kid. You're making an adult. And it's the difference between knitting a hat and knitting a sweater or knitting a blanket. It's going to take a while, but every little stitch works together to make the thing. So, yeah, right. So you weren't necessarily the best parent in the last 10 minutes. That's okay because there's all these other chances to build on it.
Yeah.
And it's all right. So there's one bad stitch, and with the knitting metaphor, yeah, when you wash the thing, all the imperfections work their way out. So that's just like with raising your kids. It's a big thing, and just try to step back and remember that sometimes.
Yeah. And it's an important thing. And of course, you can reach out to me if you need help, because that's what I'm here for. And reach out to Jen if you need help with overwhelm. That's what she's good at. Or perfectionism, because she is the professional imperfectionist. And give yourself some grace. We all make mistakes. We all are here to learn from mistakes. There is no success without mistakes and without failure. So, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. So, give yourself some grace. And if something just doesn't go right, pause, reflect on it, and see what you can do differently next time. And download the Accomplist app on your Play Store, your Google Play Store, or your Apple, whatever the Apple Play Store is called. Is that still called a Play Store? What's
It's
it
the
called?
App Store.
App Store.
Yeah.
App Store. And I even have Apple, but download it, get yourself a little more personally organized, and start feeling the achievement of what you do every day instead of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you're getting nothing done. Well, I appreciate you being here, Jen. I thank you very much. It was very helpful. How can someone reach out to you if they have any questions?
Well, if they have any questions, they can email me at jen@accomplist.app. And I think there might be a link to info@accomplist.app on the website. There's a Facebook group, Team Accomplished. There's a website, Facebook page called Team Accomplished, and Instagram called Team Accomplished. And the reason it's Team Accomplished is, well, one, because it's a team. We're all in this together. But also, Accomplished is such a clever name that it has been taken several times by projects that didn't happen, or did happen but went away. A school project I couldn't get at Accomplished on Twitter, a few years back. So everything it's Team Accomplished, and
I
yeah,
like that though, because it gives you support. We're in it together.
exactly. Being a professional imperfectionist, it means I'm not a hot mess. I'm an inspiration,
That's
and
exactly.
you can be an inspiration too.
And you can be an inspiration too. You are not a hot mess. You're an inspiration. So take that down, take that to heart with this podcast, make it a sign, put it on your wall, because you're an inspiration. And thank you, Jen. You are truly an inspiration as well. And I appreciate you creating what you found not to be in existence in the world to help all of us not be so perfect and embrace our imperfectionism.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
I really appreciate you being here. And to all of you, Jen and I both thank you for your time, and thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to hang out with us. We appreciate leaving a review if you like this podcast, or if you know somebody else who is overwhelmed, and I'd be willing to bet you do, who really needs to kind of feel like they feel a little more accomplished. Share this out and get them to download the app Accomplist and listen to Jen and take a little bit of pressure off of ourselves. So we thank you for being here. As always, I wish you days filled with peace, love, tons of laughter. Learn to laugh at yourself because we're pretty funny. Laughter really is the best medicine. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. If this episode was helpful to you, please share it with a friend and leave us a review that will help others. Wonder why kids don't come with a manual? Well, wonder no more, because I wrote you one, and it's just won a wonderful Mom's Choice Award. Go to celiasbooks.com and buy your copy of Raising Happy Toddlers, as well as my children's books. I appreciate you being part of my mission to help 10 million parents stop yelling at their kids. Please be intentional and hug on those kids of yours. See you at the next episode.